Hello guys, and thank you for joining me at the start of my brand new YouTube channel, Behind the Dugouts. Here we'll be looking to discuss all things football with, if you didn't guess from the background and the shirt, a slight bias towards Chelsea Football Club. And now I wanted to kick off the start of my channel with a series called Player Breakdown, where we take a look at the players that have made their move during the transfer window to new clubs. We'll go in depth, look at their stats, take a look at their transfer fee, even the wages, because nowadays wages is playing a big part in whether a player moves, whether it's worth the risk for clubs, especially my club in particular, who are quite heavy on players fitting within their wage structure. Then at the end of the video, I will be ranking the signing the club had made from an S to a D rank, S being superb, stellar signing, D being doesn't really make sense. Now that the pleasantries are out of the way, Liam Delap, step up to the spot. Now, it was only fitting that I did kick this off with a player that did move to Chelsea Football Club over this small transfer window that has now briefly shut and will reopen again next week. Liam Delap, young 22-year-old English striker, played for newly promoted Ipswich Town last season. Total of 38 games, 14 goal involvements, which is considerably good for the club that he was playing for. Ipswich didn't do very well this season, in the bottom three, been relegated. To get 14 goal involvements in that sort of structure, I think is quite good for a striker, especially of his age, not played in the Premier League before. He is also a player that I do like. He is an old school type of striker, very, very physical, loves to get in your face, tries to bully defenders, and you can see it in the way that he plays. His tenacity, his aggression is something that I think is dying in the strikers that are coming through at the moment, and it's actually nice to see. It's what do you say, a breath of fresh air, really, to see something a little bit different for a change. But with the tenacity, the aggression that he does have, he doesn't then miss out on the technical side of things. One of his biggest attributes, Liam Delap, is actually his ball carrying ability. He loves to run with the ball and take on players, and generally when you have strikers that are more aggressive, more in your face, they sort of lack the ball carrying ability. They are to get in your face, you put the ball to me, the box, I'm going to bang it in the back of the net. And he he seems, at least from the stint that I've seen from this season at Ipswich, the few games that I may have seen him at the under 21 level for England, he seems to have a blend of both: the aggression, the get in your face, but also the ball carrying ability, able to have it at feet and take on players, which seems to me a perfect blend of what a striker should be. Looking at the transfer fee, it cost Chelsea a total of £30 million. This was the release clause set out in Liam Delap's contract with Ipswich Town. This also had a sell-on clause, a certain percentage that Man City would have got from the sale. Well, £30 million for me, for the type of striker he is, how he did last season, his age bracket, it's quite a bargain. And I think a lot of people would agree. For paying £30 million now in this market for this type of player, for this age, is quite unheard of. I mean, you look at Jamie Gittins, Borussia Dortmund, who we've been linked with for most of the window. We're not even going to go into detail how I feel the transfer window ended. Luckily, it's reopening again. They can put right a lot of wrongs that they did, hopefully, but I don't hold my breath for the way the club moves currently in the last few years under the ownership, but that's for another day. As I said, with Gittins, they're looking, we obviously put a bid in for £42 million and they're wanting more. So I think for £30 million for a player that's been in the Premier League, done it this season, 14 goal contributions, what I think for the team is good numbers. I definitely do think for it's a bargain. With his wages, 20k I believe a week at Ipswich, he would certainly fit in our wage structure. I don't have any doubts, so I can imagine that it fits perfectly within the structure. So wages, no issue there. With what he brings to the team, which the club have been crying out for a centre forward for years and years. Nicholas Jackson being brought in, he's not quite reached the potential, the heights that we're expecting and what we expect at the club, especially now getting back into the Champions League. We need that top quality, striker. And again, something a little bit different. Liam Delap will bring in something different to the club. Do I think he is the top striker we need to compete in the Champions League to move forward? No, not yet. He is raw. He is developing. Again, one season in the league. He's still got a lot to work on. One of the things in particular is his sort of passing, his link-up play with his teammates. I noticed a lot of games in Ipswich, he was very head down, dribble players, take players on, which, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing, but when there are players moving into better positions, your decision-making needs to be better, especially playing at the top level. In the top competition, you have to make the right decision, and that's something that he definitely needs to work on. His hold-up play is a bit sort of 50-50. He's got the physical strength to keep players off, the argy-bargy, arms out, stop players trying to get through you. But there are times where his first touch doesn't help him and he's losing the control of the ball, and it's just something that he does need to improve on. But again, for his age, not been in the league for very long, this is something that will improve over time. So though he's not what I would say the answer yet, I'm not saying that he can't be. Potentially in a few years' time he could be. I'd love to be proven wrong. I'd love for him to come in this season and absolutely smash it, and I'll hold my hands up and go, I don't know what I'm talking about. But I think the consensus from a lot of people is that he's good, but he's just not quite there yet. It would be lovely to have someone come in with a bit more experience to not handhold, but show him things. Someone that's been around the block that can teach him, help his progression a little, go a little bit further. Something that Nicholas Jackson lacked for the last few seasons, and hence why he's gotten better, but he's stagnated. He's still making the same errors. He's still, up there with missing a lot of, potential chances. I mean, look at the stats at Cole Palmer, and when he had his dip of form, he was still creating 20 odd chances, and I can guarantee a lot of them were probably falling on Nicholas Jackson's plate, and he just wasn't putting them away. One thing Liam Delap will bring is he will bring a box presence. He always crashing into the box. He's where he needs to be, in and around that 6-yard area. A lot of his goals I've seen where players are crossing in and he's running across the face of defenders to get those little touches on. Again, a goal doesn't have to be scored pretty. It just needs to go in the back of the net. And that's something that he does have, which I feel Jackson does lack. So will he improve the team? 100%. 100%. He's coming in, he's already bolstering up the team. But there's also, for himself as well as everybody else in the team, there's a lot of room for development and a lot of work needed on other aspects of his game. Now, some of the attributes I feel that he, will elevate the team with is his dribbling, which I've mentioned in the videos. His dribbling on the ball is superb. When he's got the ball at his feet, he's got great technical ability to keep it nice, close, small touches, controls the ball. He's got speed, he's got the aggression to keep hold of it when he is being charged down by the defending players. He also has something which, again, I would think is missing in a lot of our players. That little dark arts, that little, lack of a better word, shithousery. For one instance, it comes to mind when he played against us last season. The instance in the box for the penalty, we know it was a dive, mate. No hard feelings now that you're with us, but we know it was a dive. Seen on camera. He has that. He has that just to be an absolute menace, which sometimes I look at some of our players and I just don't see it's there. They're just almost too nice. And to have that side of the game, it will breed in through the team 100%. When players around him, even someone like Jackson, though they're of similar, if not the same age, he will feed off that. Another thing he does like to do, he does like to take shots from just distance. He does have quite a powerful shot. Seen some of his goals. One of them, when he broke into the box, a bit excessive, but I mean, you've got to make sure he absolutely roofed into the net, and you see the back of the goal just fling up. So he does have the power. Again, another thing that, off the top of my head, watching any Chelsea players don't really do is take shots from distance. Only one really would be Cole Palmer. Other than that, and even with that, he doesn't particularly have the most power on his shots. He's perfect at placing the ball, his accuracy, a phenomenal player. But it's not many other players on the squad that do actually take those shots from distance. And Liam Delap is one of those players that gets into position. If it opens up for them, he's going to try. He's going to hit it. He's going to work the keeper. And I think that's something that's completely dead in our team. So definitely something that I'm looking forward to having into the team. And that will, again, as I said, it will fall into the other players. They will see a young striker like himself coming into this team at the top level, wanting to take those shots from distance, wanting to be confident on the ball, and taking on players, and confidence will go through. He's not a player that I think drops his head when something doesn't go right. Again, he's playing for Ipswich Town last season. There's a lot of things that for them that were going wrong, and he was one of their shining lights last season. Head never dropped, never wavered, head just constantly going at it game after game, trying to do the best for his team. And what more can you ask from a player? I think his work rate, his pressing is exceptional. I think it will fit well in the way that Maresca wants to play. With obviously wanting to control the ball, wanting to win it back quickly. He's a player that does like to press, wants to press, and will hunt you down. Like a dog. He will just continue to go and go until he wins that ball back. And so I think that's something that is suited well for the team. The only thing that I think doesn't suit, and again, it's just something that he needs to improve on, as I mentioned earlier, is his first touch control of the ball. Because we are a team that wants to play, that wants to keep hold of the ball, it's something that he's going to have to come in and to link up with those players. He's going to need to develop on, improve on his passing, improve on moving the ball, improve on holding it up, and ensuring that first touch is good. Something that our current striker really does struggle with in times. He has his moments. So those would be attributes that the way that we are playing at the moment, the system that Maresca wants to play, is something that Delap will need to improve on to fit the system. Now, the benefit that he does have is that Maresca has, coached him before, has had him at the under-23s. Joe Shields is doing a great job with assembling the Avengers, or the under-23 squad. We've already got 3 plus Maresca himself, and then we're looking at Jamie Barnett-Gittins at the moment. So there is that that cohesion that he will already have. He's not going into a brand new team where he doesn't know anyone. He's going into a team already where he's had teammates from the past. He's had a manager from the past. So in terms of settling in, he should settle into the squad pretty fast, and understand the style of football again pretty quickly. He's gone through the Man City stage, so he knows what to expect. But there are those attributes that he does need to work on to fit in the squad. At the end of the day, he wants to be a starter. No player comes in just to be a bench player. He wants to be a starter, so I'm 100% sure that these things that he's probably working on already. And as the season develops. Now we've come to the part of the video where I'm going to be looking at ranking this transfer, how I feel it fit with the club, how it fit with the player. Liam Delap, young 20-year-old, like I mentioned, the 30 million price tag, I feel is it's just a bargain. No matter which way you look at it, for his age, he's Premier League proven, so he's done it a year, 14 goal contributions last season for a relegated Ipswich Town. I do feel that he improves the squad immediately coming in. We're crying out for strikers at the moment, though I don't feel he's the finish article, as mentioned all the points we covered over in the video. He definitely does elevate, and I do feel personally that he is a striker that Chelsea thrive with. The physical, the tenacious, just the workhorses, the ones that get in your face, the aggressive strikers, those just takes me back to Diego Drogba, Diego Costa. Those type of strikers Chelsea have always just worked under. So I feel Liam Delap straight away elevates us more so than Nicholas Jackson. However, he's not the one to take us to the next level yet. He's still got some more developing to do. So taking all the factors in, again, as well as the low wages, I'm going to rank this transfer as an A. Not quite superb, stellar, perfect transfer yet, as again I would still like to see, and I would hope, not holding my breath, that the club still brings in an experienced striker to help the team and help these younger strikers develop, and give them some attributes and traits to learn as they develop themselves. So, but I do think for the price, the age, the wages, the fact that he does elevate the team, he's a striker that we don't currently have. Someone that I feel would take, I think an A is a respectable ranking for this transfer. But let me know what you think. Also, let me know what players you would like me to talk about. Again, this is a channel for the fans, by a fan. So your feedback is important to me. And if there's any players out there that you'd like me to cover, drop a comment below. I'll be happy to, take a look and provide. Again, this is all my opinion. Others will sit there. You might rank him as an S. You might rank him as a D. This is your opinion, but based on my opinion, the factors I've looked, the matches that I've watched over the course of the seasons, the highlights, the stats that I've looked at Liam Delap myself, and for the position that he's coming in, the things that he's coming in to do to Chelsea, what I feel he's going to elevate Chelsea. I think the rank of A is quite a suitable rank for him. But yeah, let me know. If you like this video, please like, again, comment. Feedback is always appreciated, and if there's anything that you would like me to discuss, please let me know. And that's all from me, guys. I'll catch you in the next video.